That's Sudan. This is a massive, incredibly diverse country of around 50 million people, and right now it is being completely ripped apart by a brutal war. It's a complex web of history, deeply rooted ethnic divisions, and some really heavy foreign intervention. So today, we're going to logically navigate exactly how this happened, and more importantly, why it matters to the world right now.
We'll start off by looking at the staggering scale of the world's largest humanitarian crisis, and then we'll trace the roots of this rivalry back decades. We'll examine the heartbreakingly stolen democratic transition, uncover the global shadow war that's keeping the fighting alive, and finally take a look at Sudan's deeply uncertain future.
1. The world's largest crisis. To really ground ourselves in the immediate reality of what's happening in Sudan today, we have to grasp the sheer scale of the devastation. 12 million displaced people. Think about that for a second. The fighting there has created literally the largest humanitarian crisis since records began. We're talking about tens of thousands of people killed. The human stakes are horrific. There are active outbreaks of famine, nowhere near enough aid is getting in, and sexual violence is actively being used as a weapon of war. It's a reality of just absolute heartbreak, loss, and death. So you might be wondering, who exactly is fighting? Well, the country is currently split between two heavily armed factions, and this breakdown brilliantly illustrates the divide. On one side, we have the Sudanese Armed Forces, or the SAF. This is the official state army, led by General Burhan, and they currently control the east, the north, and the center of Sudan, which includes the capital Khartoum. On the other side, we have the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF. Now, they are a paramilitary group led by a man known as Hemeti, and they control a massive chunk of territory in the west, including the entire region of Darfur. This stark division has experts deeply, deeply concerned that Sudan could permanently fracture. And actually, that's something that already happened once before, when South Sudan seceded back in 2011. An uncertain future. With so much money and weaponry flowing into the country, the violence on the ground is escalating rapidly. As the RSF pushes to consolidate their power, especially out in western Sudan, the echoes of the past are returning with just horrifying clarity. The atrocities are truly staggering. In places like El Geneina, the UN reports that up to 15,000 people were killed in massacres, specifically targeting non-Arab communities. The RSF has cut off food and water to entire cities. In fact, the US government has already declared that the RSF's actions in Darfur amount to genocide, noting they're targeting the exact same tribes in the exact same region as they did 2 decades ago. Now, recently, when videos of targeted killings in El Fasher went viral online, RSF leader Hemeti did actually arrest one of his commanders, promising an investigation. But for a lot of analysts, they view this as purely performative accountability, basically a PR stunt where one guy takes the fall while thousands of militiamen walk away totally scot-free. To solidify their grip on the country, both sides are really digging in territorially. The SAF has gone ahead and set up a rival government in Port Sudan, while the RSF has set up its own government in Nyala. It is absolutely vital to note here that neither of these governments has true legitimacy. One was born out of a military coup against a civilian transition, and the other out of mass murder and ethnic cleansing. But the fact that they both exist raises grave, grave fears that the nation could permanently split in two. So you're probably asking, is anyone actually trying to stop this? Well, there's a diplomatic mediation group known as the Quad. It's made up of the US, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And they've been trying to negotiate a pause in the fighting, even if it's just to get basic aid to starving people. But so far, these efforts have completely failed. The stark reality on the ground is that neither faction wants to share power, and since the RSF currently holds vast amounts of territory, they have literally zero incentive to just give it up in a peace deal. Now, what's really interesting about this is how analysts frame the entire conflict. Ultimately, they describe this as not just a civil war, but as a counter-revolutionary war. It's a war punishing civilians who had the audacity back in 2019 to demand democracy and to demand their own civilian government. The people of Sudan had their democratic transition stolen from them, and now they are the ones paying the ultimate price while global networks profit off their resources. As this devastating crisis continues to unfold day by day, we really have to ask ourselves, how long can the international community allow a multi-billion-dollar shadow war to overshadow the lives of 50 million people? Thank you so much for watching.